Mr. DJ Rose, Verteezy, and C's. Welcome you to the No More Black Tears podcast.
Black tears that's heaven sent. Barack the first black president. I love my black skin. I love walking in black excellence. Black power, let's represent. All black, that's evident. I'm sure MLK and Malcolm X both didn't die for the hell of it. Strap a seatbelt, go and settle land. What makes you think that we would sell our land? We wouldn't sell out now. What makes you think that we would go ahead and try to sell out then? No more black tears, black on black kids. Love us as is, love with passion. Paying black bills, learning black skills, making black meals. Black is backing. Big shout out to Fred Hampton. I'm black and proud like I'm James Brown, but I ain't doing no acting. My people here from the motherland. This podcast now active.
No More Black Tears Radio. We back in the building, me and Verteezy. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all go subscribe to the YouTube channel. And it all happened in a week.
So this week in sports, we're going to start off with out in Texas. You know, there was a youth girls softball league where unfortunately there was a black girl on one of the teams, and every time she got up to pitch, the opposing team made monkey sounds. Every time she got up to bat, the opposing team made monkey sounds. Now, I do feel the need to mention she is her mom is white, so she's biracial. The mom did an interview and talked about how it was heartbreaking to see. The coach of the girls' team went up to the umpire. The umpire was black, the coach was white. And the umpire basically said it was out of his control. He couldn't do nothing because nothing they did was technically derogatory. And they couldn't really technically say it was aimed at the girl. They did talk to the league, and the league said they would look into it. What's your thoughts on this, Rose?
Crazy. It's crazy. I know that when you up the bat and things like that, people do all kind of sounds, like, you know what I'm saying, when you're at bat or pitching and things like that try to distract you. But the monkey sounds, everybody knows what that's about. You know what I'm saying? It's a racial pretty much thing. It's not a slur, but it's a racial thing. So everybody know what it was. So it's like, and for the team to do that, and she had to go through that, kind of messed up. I want to see what the outcome's going to be, if they're going to do anything about it, because like the ref said, it's probably hard for them to do something about it. But I feel like he could have had a talk to the coach and be like, hey, is it technically necessary for y'all to be doing this or something? You know what I'm saying? A little bit more, I think, especially him being a black man.
It would be interesting to find out the racial makeup of the team. Like, was there any black people on that team potentially? Because there's situations where you could have one or two token black people on the team, and the white people still do crazy stuff like that. So that's interesting. My main takeaway was just the parents at the game. You know, whether it's your daughter or not, I'm just surprised that there wasn't more parents, especially the parents of the girls on the opposing team, that didn't walk to the dugout and be like, hey, you're going to stop that. That's not right. There's other ways to get into the opposing team's head, but that's not how you was raised. It does make you think maybe this is how they was raised. You know, and if it's not how they was raised, you know, I just find it hard that the parents heard these noises, heard their children making these noises, and if you did not object to what he was doing, why would you sit quietly? That was like my main thing. I'm not really too disheartened with the kids, because kids do all kind of crazy stuff, and you know, they could have saw this online. Maybe it's some shit that their parents might have said in the house or whatever. So a lot of times kids just repeat shit that they see online or in their household. I'm just more so like when we have situations where parents and adults need to be adults, I'm just always going to lean to the adults need to take control of the situation. And I just feel like in this situation, the adults failed miserably. Moving on to somebody who came into the league as a kid, technically, and now they're a grown-ass man. And in terms of off the court, I cannot tell you a time that I feel like this person has failed at one time. We're going to talk about LeBron James. Now, we talked last week about how LeBron is leaving the Los Angeles Lakers. And, you know, we looked at his time in LA to decide, like, do we think it was a success? Do we think it was a failure? And we kind of was split on that in terms of what we thought it was. But in terms of his whole career, you got to say his career was successful. But we're going to break his career down from his first 7 years in Cleveland to his 4 years in Miami to his second 4 years in Cleveland, and then the 8 years he had in LA. And we're going to rank what we thought was the most successful run he had, the most dominant run he had, and just the best version of him and why. Rose, where would you like to start? Would you like to start where you think he was most successful, most dominant, or just the best version of LeBron?
I guess, but let's go with the best version.
Okay. Um, where do you think LeBron was the best version of himself?
I think it's probably that Heat with the Heat that I want to say maybe it was the second year with the Heat when they went on that 27.
So that 4 year run with the Heat.
Yeah, yeah. That was probably when he was probably at it. I didn't like I liked the version when he went back to Cleveland. I liked that version better because he was a little bit more polished on a little bit of everything, but he was just so unstoppable when he was with the Heat. You know what I'm saying? He was. I think he went. I mean, because he won like 2 MVPs with the Heat, or I mean,
he won 2 MVPs with the Heat.
Yeah.
But that's the same he won his first 7 years in Cleveland.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, give me the Miami Heat. Yeah.
And what would be the second best version of LeBron?
I want to say the after the Heat, and when he went back to Cleveland.
Okay, then. So you think the best version of LeBron, we saw him in Miami.
Mhm.
Second best was that second time in Cleveland.
Mhm.
So would you put the worst version, the version we saw in LA, or,
Yeah.
or the first version we saw in Cleveland?
It'll be the LA.
The
Yeah.
LA?
Yeah.
So why would you rank it that way? Like it's in your opinion, why do you think that's how you would rank LeBron?
Because with the when he was with Cleveland, I just give him the second one because he was more polished as a basketball player. Because the first 7 years when he was with Cleveland, he was mostly downhill, attacker the rim, and passing. And he was he used to pass up a lot of shots when those first 7 years. You know what I'm saying? And then when he went to the Heat, he's still passing up a lot of shots. And then, but he was just dominant. You know what I'm saying? And then for that second stint in Cleveland, I think that's when he became like, all right, I ain't no more passing it up, man. I'm going to be the man. I'm going to finish. I'm going to start and go finish, and I'm just going to be everything. And especially because when he went back, because they went against Golden State twice, right? They lost one time and they won one time.
They went against Golden State 3 times.
3 times? Okay. The second time in Cleveland?
In fact, no, I think he went against Golden State 4 times.
4 times?
Because he went to the finals every year in Cleveland.
Okay. So especially that when they came back from a 3-1, that was like amazing. And then also that time when he was in the finals against Golden State, when he put up those crazy numbers. I don't remember what numbers the numbers was, but
are you talking about when Kyrie was on the team?
Yeah.
That was the series where in game 1 I think he had a 50 piece.
Yeah, and they was talking about giving him the MVP even in a losing effort. You know what I'm saying? So so that's I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, that's why I picked those years in that order.
Why do you think LA version is the worst? Because he won the championship with LA, but he didn't win one that first run in Cleveland.
Because he was just old. The last couple of years, he was just old.
So if we take the last 3 years away and just do the first 5 years in LA, like would that make it better, or are you just weighing those last 3 years so heavily?
I'm just weighing those last 3 years because he was still good, but he was just old. You know what I'm saying? He was just old. You know what I'm saying? He was still doing some stuff, but he wasn't doing everything like he used to do. You know what I'm saying?
I say for me personally, I cannot really see it any other way. Like I feel like hands down that Miami version is the best version we saw of LeBron. He was the best player on both sides of the court. It was really the first time, if you remember, when we really was hearing that on ESPN consistently, the best player on both sides of the court. Like LeBron was the best defensive player in the league. He was the best offensive player in the league. He made his teammates better. He won 2 MVPs that 4-year stretch in Miami. Made it to the finals every single year. He finished in second to defensive player of the year to Marc Gasol. A lot of people to this day feel like he should have won defensive player of the year to Marc Gasol, because Marc Gasol didn't even make first team all defense, and LeBron did. I think he made first team all defense every single year in Miami, and we saw LeBron guard all 5 positions while he was in Miami. Like we saw him guard Derrick Rose in the series. We saw him guard Roy Hibbert, at times in that Pacers series when he faced the Pacers. Like, yeah, LeBron was just on a different planet. And I just feel like it was the first time in his career and the only time where we were saying LeBron was undisputedly the best player in the league. Like there was a brief moment where KD kind of, people thought KD could be the best player, but LeBron quickly snuffed that out because the year that, people were saying that was the year that KD won the MVP. They also coincided when LeBron beat him in the finals. And once he beat him in the finals, it wasn't even this conversation no more. Even when Derrick Rose won his MVP, nobody thought Derrick Rose was better than LeBron. And then LeBron still won 2 MVPs. And you can make the argument he probably should have been MVP that whole stretch in Miami. But it wasn't going to happen because the team was just too stacked. Especially that first year, there was a lot of people in the media and fans who just did not like that decision. So he wasn't going to win. There was no way he was going to MVP that first year, even though his numbers was just as good as it was the rest of the stretch. But yeah, it's almost hard to even compare. If I'm being honest, it's almost hard to even compare any of the other versions of LeBron to that Miami Heat version. Because that was just, we're not going to see that play again. Man, the second best version, I think the first run in Cleveland, man. I think the first run in Cleveland was the second best version of LeBron. I mean, there's a strong argument for the second run in Cleveland. I feel like the second run in Cleveland, he started again old. He started not being as dominant downhill as he used to be, but his 3-point shot got better that during that time span. But it was just kind of hard to compare that second run to Cleveland to the first one, only because he had Kyrie and Kevin Love with him, and that first run in Cleveland, it was just him.
Mm-hmm.
It was just him. And I'll definitely say this: the most impressive run he had out of all the places he's been was that first 7 years. That was the most impressive. Even if that's not the best version of him, I don't even think you can make the argument that the Miami version was more impressive, because that first 7 years, he went from winning 2 MVPs at such a young age, having playoff battles, that series against Detroit where he had that game, I want to say game 5 or game 6, where he scored or assisted on 29 points straight in the fourth quarter. Then he had that finals where he made the finals against the Spurs. And people talk about the fact that the Spurs, swept them. But I had to go back and look at the box scores, and literally that finals was very reminiscent of the finals we just saw. 3 of the 4 games was by 6 points or less. Only 1 game was double digit, and that was 11 points. And in every game, LeBron led his team in scoring and assists and rebounding. So, when you look at it, that was against that Spurs team, which was probably one of the best teams of that era. I definitely think the LeBron we saw the first go around in Cleveland was definitely the best. And then I would go Cleveland LeBron. The second time around is third best. I would go Cleveland LeBron only because the LA LeBron, I agree with you. He kind of got old, but he was able to kind of hold off all the time as well as he could. And he got to play with AD, which I feel like you can make the argument AD is the best player LeBron's ever played with outside of Luka this past year. So if you take Luka out of it, I think you can make a real strong argument. And to be honest, even with Luka, I feel like you can make the argument because of how good AD is on defense, that AD is the best player LeBron played with, so that kind of helped him too. But that run in Cleveland where every year it just kind of felt like Thanos. He was going to get to the finals and it was inevitable. Like no matter what happened, like he was gonna get to the finals. Like man, like okay, he beat him with the baby dinosaurs. Like we thought DeMar and Kyle Lowry stood a chance. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. He just got his jersey retired, in Toronto. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. But that shit was a wrap. We thought that Pacers team was gonna stand a chance. We was looking at Danny Granger, but then that's when it switched over to Paul George and Roy Hibbert and Lance Stevenson blowing the LeBron in. We thought them boys had a chance. Nah, he disposed of those. Before the Celtics got too old, we thought they stood a chance. Man, man, like, well, that was Miami LeBron, but my bad. When Paul Pierce and them boys went to Brooklyn, we thought they was going to have a team when it was Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, KG, and Dan Williams. I don't think that team. I don't think LeBron had to face them teams in the playoffs, man. I think those next teams just destroyed themselves. Man, he took care of Melo winning the Knicks, And then last but not least, man, I remember my Hawks won 60 games. Like we thought that we had what? I think we had 4 All-Star starters in the game. Like we sent 4 Hawks to the All-Star game as starters, and we got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Kyrie, people forget this. Kyrie, I think, did something to his hand. So it was just LeBron and Kevin Love in the series. And my dumb ass thinking, we got a chance. we can get to the finals. We got Jeff Teague. We got Al Horford. We got Paul Millsap. We even got that white boy Kyle Korver shooting threes.
The ghost Jeff Teague.
Yeah.
I think he will always disappear in the fourth quarter.
Man, man, right during that time span, he was cooking. Man, bruh, I think we got swept if I remember correctly, bruh.
It was bad.
If we didn't get swept, we lost in 5 and it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
That shit was so embarrassing, bruh. And it's like, I don't think LeBron had an easier Eastern Conference series in his life. And that's when it was just like, this nigga really is inevitable. So like, yeah, so that's what made that version of LeBron so good. Because if I had to be honest, what you were saying about his game being better overall, I think what made the second run Cleveland is it was the first time where mentally the game slowed down to LeBron for another level. I think it because that was when you started seeing LeBron realize, fuck these regular season games. Let me just get to the postseason, because we saw that Cleveland team be, I think, a 4th seed and make it to the finals during that stretch. And like he would get in these series, and if you remember, Rose, because they talked about this all the time on ESPN, LeBron would lose the first game. And it's like he was losing the first game just to figure out how the team was playing. And after that, then that's when he just cracked the code on what the team was doing. So from a mental aspect, it just seemed like he had to go to Miami to learn how to win. And he took the knowledge of learning how to win to make the equivalency of someone who goes to Harvard Law School. They took that knowledge, they went back to their hood, and they built their community back up. That's what it seemed like he did. And in the LA version, man, I thought we got a good version of LeBron. But it's hey man, like it's almost like Tom Brady when you break his career down to like 3 parts. Each version of LeBron is a Hall of Famer, So I don't want to shit on the LA version of LeBron, but by that time, he couldn't get to the basket like he wanted to. He couldn't play defense at all. Like the LeBron couldn't even play defense no more like he used to, But he still had the mental ability, and we probably got the best 3-point shooter LeBron, to be honest. Like that was probably when he shot the 3-ball the best, which ain't that some shit, nigga? Because why you waited till you got to LA to shoot the 3-ball? Because if he could have shot that 3-ball the way he did in LA, in Miami, or the first run in Cleveland, the nigga probably would have been won some championships.
Yeah, especially that first run in Cleveland.
Yeah.
If he could have shot that 3-ball, he would have definitely won at least 2.
At least 2, bro. So it's like you waited till you got to LA and you couldn't get to the basket in order to shoot threes. Nigga, you needed that in Cleveland the first go around. You could have beat that Spurs team. Because I don't know, you remember that series? Them niggas was playing off him like 5 yards, man. Like he was Randy Moss.
I remember in the video game when you used to get him, he could have hit the 3 for nothing.
Man, not for a motherfucking thing, nigga. Not for a motherfucking thing. Sticking with LeBron, he got 4 championships. He got 4 league MVPs. What do you think was like the most impressive MVP and the most impressive championship?
The most impressive championship, it was that one in Cleveland. I think that one in Cleveland when they came back 3 down, 3-1. That was, what I'm saying? People say, oh, that kind of equals 2 championships. It doesn't, but it was it was amazing. I didn't think he was gonna do it, but when it came down to Game 7, I was like, dog, they go. I was hoping he wouldn't do it because that Golden State team, I think that's when they won 70 games, and so I just wanted to see them finish it.
I think most people that was not hating on the Warriors wanted to see them finish the deal.
Yeah, so I just wanted to see them finish that, but that was amazing though. That was amazing. The best team to because I want to say did they tie the Bulls, right?
No, they beat
the Bulls by 1.
Yeah, by 1.
Okay, so the best season ever. You down, they up 3-1, and then you came back to beat them to give Cleveland their first championship. That was amazing. Yeah, that was that's to this day I think that was one of the most I don't know, man. That was amazing. That was amazing,
man. What MVP year? I mean, you got to know the exact year. Like, was it his first MVP in Cleveland, his second MVP in Cleveland, the first MVP in Miami, or the last MVP in Miami?
Probably the one, the 08 when they won like 60-something games, and I think that was his first stint in Cleveland. Yeah, so the first stint, that might have been his first one. I think that was his first one.
I think that was his first one.
Yeah, I think that was his first. So the first one, yeah, because they didn't have no team, and they still won 66 games and won the first MVP. I'm not. Did they go to the finals that year? That's when it went to the finals.
I think they went to the finals the year before that.
Okay.
Because the finals were put LeBron on the map.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna lie, man. I would say the most impressive MVP had to be. I want to say the first MVP in Miami. It was the MVP in Miami that he almost won unanimously, but a reporter from New York voted for Melo. So either the first or second MVP in Miami. But because that was the same year that he fell like a couple points shy of winning Defensive Player of the Year. And that's when I feel like we had the best version of LeBron, and when he was just so fucking dominant as an individual player, where it was just, it's I don't want to disrespect the rest of the league. It was just one of those few times in NBA history where the best player was so above everyone else that the second best player, you could get the next 8 best players, and I'm, in my opinion, I don't think you would trade the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th best player in the league for LeBron. That's how big the gap was during that run that he had. And as far as championship, man, I'm so tempted to say that Cleveland won, but I want to more so just look from an individualistic perspective, and it's hard for me to pick that one because when people talk about it, people don't talk about the fact that Kyrie averaged 40 the last 3 games.
Yeah, he was cooking. He was cooking.
You know,
he was cooking.
And the fact,
Steph.
we talk about Kyrie hit the game with a shot, so it's hard for me to say that championship is the most impressive when Kyrie did so much to help get the champion, like to help get them to the finish line in terms of just individual from LeBron. So if I'm going to pick one, I'm probably going to pick the championship that I hated the most, which was the second one in Miami when they beat the Spurs in 7, because when they had to play the Spurs in Game 7, LeBron was just so dominant in that game that there was nothing the Spurs could do. And they tried everything. They tried sagging off him and giving him the 3 ball.
That was their lucky championship.
But
they shouldn't have won that one.
Now
they should have been over in 6 games. I still can't believe they got that tip.
And I'm gonna say this: had that been Game 7, and had that been Game 7, I probably would have had that as the most impressive. But because it was Game 6 and LeBron still had to go out there Game 7, and do what he did to them boys, like that. That's why I would probably say that was the most impressive, because it was probably one of the few times I felt more confident of the Spurs winning that series than I did in the Warriors winning Game 7. Like, I felt very confident the Spurs would come out Game 7 after losing the way they did in Game 6, and I thought they would run them boys off the court, bro, because they had blown them out a couple times in that series, and that's what I thought was going to happen. But LeBron just rose to the occasion and just played so phenomenal that it was just a level of dominance that I think was just fascinating. Before we wrap it up and move on, what was just your most enjoyable time watching LeBron?
The Lakers. Watching them play with the Lakers because we were so bad after Kobe retired. Even in Kobe's last couple of years, because he hurt his Achilles, he came back still the next year. He wasn't explosive no more. He was still good. And it's like, and then after he retired, so those I want to say maybe the last 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years of Kobe, and then all the way up until they got LeBron, we were so bad. It was hard to watch them. You know what I'm saying? It was like, especially after Kobe retired, and we got Lonzo Ball, and we had Kyle Kuzma and them boys. That's what them boys are so sorry, boy. It's like it couldn't you couldn't even watch it. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't. And they also didn't put them on TV either. But sometimes they did. But it was just hard to watch. And then when LeBron came, we started winning again. So and then he was able to watch him again. And so that sort of thing. So I'm gonna say the Lakers was my most enjoyable time watching them. Just because of that, because Lakers is my team.
Yeah, that's not a bad answer because Lakers is both our teams. Just as a LeBron fan, or just as someone who's just a fan of the NBA and getting to watch LeBron play, I feel like that first 7 years in Cleveland, man, because he played with such a joy. Like, I don't know if people remember. I remember, like, especially when they first started winning. So year 3, from to the time he left, man, they would take pictures after the game. They would do all kind of dances. Like, he treated that team like it was a college team. It was cool to see his ascension, to see him become the best player in the league. And it just reminded me of these first couple of years watching Vic, and stuff like that. You had the people who wanted to see LeBron be successful. You had the people that did not want to see LeBron be successful because they didn't want him to become the best player, because there were still other players in the league that they wanted to still remain the best player. But to watch him in the postseason, to have them battles against Boston, even though he would lose, but he would drop 48, Paul Pierce would drop 45. To watch that series against Orlando, which doesn't get talked about enough, where he hit that game winner in the first game with basically no time left. To watch him drag that team to the finals against the Spurs, even though they lost, man. And then to watch the All-Star games and to watch him compete in the All-Star games against Kobe and KG and Tim Duncan. And the fact that people forget him, LeBron was in the league for so long, him and AI was teammates in the Eastern Conference All-Star game. So to watch that young version of LeBron, that version of LeBron that, for those who are younger, are not gonna believe this, that version of LeBron that didn't even have facial hair. That's how young LeBron was. What'd you say?
I said the one that didn't get in the dunk contest.
Yeah, the one. I mean, that's probably the greatest thing he should have did is get a dunk contest, man. But the first 7 years in Cleveland was definitely magical to watch as a basketball fan, and probably the biggest reason why they were so dope to watch was it's almost like watching the NBA now with Vic. You was like, you know what, Kobe? When you leave, we're gonna be good, bro. We got a nigga in Cleveland. We're gonna be good, bro. And we've been good ever since LeBron emerged on the scene. Talking about being good, we're gonna move on to the NFL, and we're gonna continue our divisional breakdown. We're gonna move to the AFC North with the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are the offseason moves by each team, Rose, that you think is going to be helpful?
I think the Ravens getting the guy from Henderson from the Bengals, that should help them out some. I wish they probably would have got Max Crosby, but getting him, I think that would help them out because he should have something to prove because he was dog poop last year. Steelers not having their coach anymore. It's like he was there for 20 something years, and then him not being there anymore. And they never had a losing record, and it's like, so where are they gonna go from here? Like, yeah, Mike McCarthy's a Super Bowl winning coach, and he's from Pittsburgh, and that sort of thing. I think he's from Pittsburgh, but and then they brought Aaron Rodgers back. And like, if he gets hurt, they ain't even got a backup quarterback. I think they got a rookie, the guy from, I want to say Ohio State, maybe. Will Howard, I think.
Yeah, Will Howard, I want to say.
And I don't see them winning a lot of games.
Man, was there another quarterback you feel like they should have targeted?
No, I just think they should have moved up in the draft and did something. They just tried to do something. I don't know, but
fair enough.
Because they was like, they didn't even try to look for nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Kirk Cousins would have been an option. You know, and you know what I'm saying? Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? Maybe try to get him out of Cleveland or something like Geno Smith.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Two of them niggas you said looked worse than Aaron Rodgers did last year. Now, Geno, he looked terrible last year in Vegas, but I gotta feel like some of that's Vegas because he just looked okay in Seattle.
Yeah,
but the other two niggas have looked way worse than Aaron.
But Watson ain't played in 3 years. He been hurt.
But every time he did step and play a game before he got hurt,
was in Cleveland.
That nigga looked terrible.
But he couldn't get no more massages though. So it's like
they got massage parlors in Cleveland.
No, it's against the law for Deshaun Watson to even go to look at a massage parlor.
So then, what was he going to do in Pittsburgh? Then not get no massages and still play like ass?
Hey, it would have been. At least they would have thought they was trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? It was. You know what I'm saying? When you get somebody a gift, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Pittsburgh. It would have been the thought that counted. It's just
man,
the thought.
It would have been ready to lynch that nigga, man.
It's just the thought that counts because they didn't. It's like they didn't even think about getting nobody else. They just waiting on him to be on Pat McAfee and finish that, and they say, okay, yeah, I'm ready now. So, and then but the team I'm most excited to see is, of course, going to be the Ravens. But I just want to see. I just want to see if Shador is going to win the job, and I want to see him have a whole season and see how he does. See if he can maybe give me some of my money back. So because he still owe me. So, but I want to see that. I'm kind of interested and excited to see that. You know what I'm saying? And the Bengals. I think the Bengals might. I think the Bengals might win the division though. I think Joe Burrow's gonna come back, and he might have an MVP season. I don't see nothing holding him back. You know what I'm saying? He's healthy. But the only thing about him, he always getting hurt. So if he could stay healthy the whole season, because last year and the year before that, he had some good numbers, but he was hurt a lot. But he still got hurt some, but his numbers were still good. You know what I'm saying?
Now, when he played excellent.
Yeah, so if I just want to see if he can, because probably the last time he played a healthy season, they went to the Super Bowl.
Nah, man. The last year he played a full healthy season.
Last year?
No, it was the year before last when he got
Jamar
Chase, yeah, and he led the league in pass and everything.
Didn't he get hurt some of the games though?
Nah, man, maybe but first of all, he probably got hurt maybe the first or second game, but he didn't miss no games that year.
Okay, so he didn't miss no game. Okay, so I thought he missed.
For Joe Burrow, that year is as close as you're gonna get to a healthy season.
Okay. So I'm so that's where I'm at right now, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna start with the Browns because they're the least impressive team. But I like the moves they made. All their moves was like draft related. They got the offensive lineman from Utah, Spencer Fennell. I don't really know too much about him, but they got him high in the draft. We know Shador kept running for his life last year. And I love both the receivers they picked up. Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston, which is a big body receiver, which I wanted him to go to Baltimore actually. So the fact that I think the Browns got him, I want to say the third round, was very impressive. I think those are two new additions at the receiver position that's going to help them a lot, as well as the draft compensation they got for trading away Myles Garrett, plus the fact they got Jared Verse. Like the Browns probably have done the most in the offseason to set their team up for the future. The Steelers, the two names that I'm most looking forward to, and for fantasy people, man, these are two names you might want to target in the draft. Because depending on how you feel about them, these are two guys that's probably not going to go very high in fantasy drafts, but could be quality players for you. Michael Pittman Jr. coming from the Colts. Yeah, he didn't have a great season the last 2 years in Indy, but you gotta hope that he's going to play better. It's going to be him and DK Metcalf. He's going to have maybe a better quarterback play with Aaron Rodgers over Daniel Jones, especially definitely better than whatever Phillip Rivers tried to give you at the end of the season. And then Rico Dowdle, who rushed for 1,000 last year. He rushed for 1,000 twice in his career, one year in Dallas and last year in Carolina. Now the question with that is, how many carries is he going to share with the other guy? But that was a very good addition for them because they did need help with their running back position. Then with the Bengals, man, Dexter Lawrence. Them just picking up that defensive tackle from New York. They needed help on defense. Yeah, they lost Trey Hendrickson, but they didn't want to pay him, man. Hopefully Dexter Lawrence does for them what I can't think of his name right now, but a defensive tackle that Dallas traded Michael Parsons for to Green Bay. Hopefully maybe he doesn't help in the pass defense, in the pass rush, but hopefully teams can't just run the ball on Cincinnati no more. And if that's the case, man, in the NFL, you're going to always have to stop the run first before we can even start thinking about the pass. So hopefully that helps. To your point, if that big trio can stay healthy from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that'll be very helpful, because if Dexter Lawrence can make that defense just a little bit better than what it's been the last couple of years, and that offense can play as well as it has played, if you go from being like if you stay as a top 5 offense and you go from being the 25th defense to, let's say, the 18th best defense, you in the playoffs probably.
Yes, that's at least 3 wins.
And then lastly, Ravens. Man, 2 big moves, Trey Hendrickson and Jesse Minter. Trey Hendrickson is going to easily make that pass rush better. That was the one thing the Ravens defense has been lacking for the last couple of years. Probably ever since they lost 12 Suggs, to be honest. Who's going to get to the quarterback in the fourth quarter of these games when these teams are trying to throw the ball? Well, Trey Hendrickson, you just got a bag. That's his job. That's your job now, boy. That's your job to get to the quarterback. And Jesse Minter, can you run an organization? Can you make that defense a top 3 defense in the league? Can that defense be as good as it was the year Mike McDonald had it, the Seahawks coach? Because if you can make that defense be as good as it was that year, you got Lamar Jackson. You got a top 3 quarterback in the league. Like, if you ever have a top 3 quarterback in the league and you got a top 3 defense, you're going to be okay in this league. And that's your job, Jesse Minter, to make that defense as good as you can, because it's been a problem the last couple of years. Ever since Mike McDonald has left, you got to make that defense better. And those, to me, are the biggest acquisitions and biggest moves in the division. In your opinion, who's the favorite to win this division?
The favorite, the Ravens. I think they got to be the favorite. They the favorite.
Who would you pick?
I'm going Bengals. I'm going Bengals. Just, I don't know why, because I'm a Ravens fan, and something just says that they're going to have a good year, and so I'm going Bengals. Probably go win the division, but I believe Ravens will have a good year.
Yeah, man, this is one of those few divisions. It's probably like the NFC West, where 3 teams can legitimately win, because the Steelers can win this division. Not only can they win this division, they just won it last year. Yeah. So. And the Bengals are always going to be in contention as long as Joe Burrow stay healthy. But I'm going to go Ravens, but I think they are the favorites. I think they should be the favorites. I think that's who I'm picking to win this division. If I had to tell you how I think the division is going to fall, I think Ravens going to win the division. But I think the Bengals are going to push them. I think they're going to be a wild card team, but a high wild card team. And I think the Steelers are going to miss the playoffs. I think the Steelers are going to take a step back this year. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, to your point, is not going to play as well as we want him to play, where the Steelers want him to play. I feel like even with the acquisition of those players, Mike McCarthy might not do that well. But to be fair to Mike McCarthy, everywhere he go, he wins. So for some reason, even though he doesn't look like an NFL coach, for some reason, when I think of Mike McCarthy, I just think of myself, oh, he okay dude, but wherever he go, he wins. So I don't want to just count him out. And then of course, Cleveland, they trying to bottom out. They in the division. You know why they there. They there to try to be drafting that boy Archie next year, or drafting the nigga from Ole Miss, or the nigga from Oregon. They try to get a top 3 pick and get their quarterback of the future, because they probably don't want Shador, and they damn sure don't want Deshaun Watson. We're going to wrap it up with our over and unders for wins. We're going to start with the Browns, 6.5.
Under.
Steelers 8.5.
Under.
Bengals 9.5.
Over.
Ravens 11.5.
11.5. Ooh, that's 12 wins.
12. 17 games. I mean,
Yeah.
they're only going to lose 5.
I'm going to go under.
Under?
I got them at 11, so I'm going to go under.
Okay, we're going to go to the players. Aaron Rodgers, 3,299.5 yards, so 33 passing yards.
On his retirement tour. Over.
20.5 touchdowns.
Over.
DK Metcalf, 849.5 yards.
Over.
Rico Dowdle, 749.5 yards.
Over.
DK
Snap. I forgot they got the other guy, though. Warren, and he played good last year. Oh, man. I'm going to go under.
Okay. Back to DK Metcalf, 5.5 touchdowns.
Under.
Rico Dowdle, 4.5 touchdowns.
Over.
Now, Shadua, they didn't have all his stats, so we had to do some projecting because of the fact that, they don't know if he's going to be the starter. But they did have, for amount of starts, though, 7.5 starts.
Over.
23, 50.5 yards.
Over.
15 TDs.
Over.
Joe Burrow, 3,924.5 yards.
Over.
31.5 TDs.
Over.
Jamar Chase, 1,299.5 yards.
Over.
9.5 TDs.
Under.
T. Higgins, 874.5 yards.
Over.
7.5 TDs.
Over.
Now we're going to go to the Ravens. Wrap it up with them. Lamar Jackson, 3,224.5 yards.
Over.
24 TDs.
Over.
Zay Flowers, 999.5 yards.
Under.
5.5 TDs.
Under.
And wrap it up with Derrick Henry, 1,249.5 yards.
Under. He'll get 1,000, but he ain't going to get 12.
12.5 TDs.
Under. It got to be time for that Bama bun to start going the other way. Father Time is undefeated, but that boy, you can't never count him out. You can't never count him out.
He pushing that motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. Because as you say under, I'm like, man, it should be under, but goddamn, I ain't willing to bet against it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it should be under, but hey, man,
niggas thought he was gonna take a step back last year.
Man, he's still doing it.
My boy MGH, when they had Derrick Henry ranked 18th in fantasy, that nigga MGH took him with the 9th pick, didn't care. And it worked out for him. So shout out, man. Shout out. Fantasy champion right there. Final thoughts.
Yeah, my final thoughts is, man, I remember when Tyler Hero was on having Twitter fingers, talking about liking and doing stuff on Twitter, talking about Bam and Giannis, about their field goal percentages and all that kind of stuff. And when he got traded, him and Bam spent about, I want to say 7 years together down there, maybe, or 5 or 6, maybe 7.
They spent some time down there.
Yeah, so I guess they were kind of close. Tyler Hero think he cool, but Bam.
He's what you call a spicy white boy.
Yeah. So Bam said, "Oh, you got the Twitter figures," and they ran into each other in Vegas. Bam said, "Well, what's that stuff you was talking about? Say what? Don't you know I'm the GOAT? Don't you know I'm the boat?" He said, "Come get this 83-piece chicken nugget. Come get this." And report said that, I don't know if he smacked him or what, but he handled his business. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Bam. You know what I'm saying? And then Bleacher Report, man, they ain't got no shame. Afterward today, they posted a video of Tyler Hero practicing boxing, and he looked so out of.
They should have posted that snowfall video. Hey man, teach a man how to squabble.
Teach a man how to squabble. But shout out to Bam.
Oh man, I'm gonna stay with I athlete, man. Marcus Spears, man. I found out today that both his kids, Marcus Spears Jr. and Kerry Spears, are both playing sports at Texas. His son is playing basketball. He's ranked number 1 of his class. His daughter's playing volleyball. She's ranked number 1 in his class. That's the goal at the end of the day, man. The goal at the end of the day, is for your kids to be in that kind of position. for them all to be successful, man. So that's amazing to him. Marcus Pitts has always been, it seemed like a stand-up gentleman. When you watch him on sports TV, you don't hear him getting in trouble, and he always talks about his kids, man. And to Rose's points, man, I think his wife is like ex-volleyball player, so, and I think she made it to the pros. So to Rose's point, we're not going to hear these hood stories no more. But fortunately, we keep hearing stories like this, and not stories of, these athletes and celebrities who have kids and their kids are doing dumb shit. At least his kids are doing positive shit, man, and hopefully they continue to be successful in their journey. Shout out to the mama.
Gotta. Mr. DJ Rose, Verkeezy, and C's, welcome you to the No More Black Tears podcast.
Black tears that's heaven sent. Barack the first black president. I love my black skin. I love walking in black excellence. Black power, let's represent. All black, that's evident. For sure MLK and Malcolm X both didn't die for the hell of it. Strap your seatbelt, go and sell our land. What makes you think that we would sell our land? We wouldn't sell out now. What makes you think that we would go ahead and try to sell out then? No more black tears, black on black kids. Love us as is, love with passion. Paying black bills, learning black skills, making black meals. Black is backing. Big shout out to Fred Hampton. I'm black and proud like I'm James Brown, but I ain't doing no acting. My people here from the motherland. This podcast now active.